Hello, welcome back to this next episode of Right Eye Radio. My name is Sailor Cooper, and today we have a guest on the show out of San Antonio. He's a voiceover artist. His name is J.D. Gonzalez, and we'll be talking about what it's like to be a voiceover artist on Right Eye Radio. Thanks for agreeing to be on the show, J.D. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
All right. Well, my first
stuff like that, but eventually I just kind of started veering and going more towards voiceover as time progressed.
Oh, great. Well, you sound like you've been all over the place, and you've had a great career so far. Now, what are some major companies you have produced voiceover work for?
Voiceover work itself, recently I did something for Six Flags, so that was kind of cool. They had a roller coaster that they had opened up called CoasterCon 38. I want to say it's somewhere up north. I'm not sure exactly which Six Flags it was, but I recently got an order from them, and it was pretty cool because I got to do all the they basically, throughout the whole Six Flags park, they were playing it over the whole park. So it was basically like the radio station for Six Flags, and it was called CoasterCon 38. And it was pretty neat, man. So it was one of my more recent, probably one of my bigger clients. But I've voiced here and there, just mainly a lot of little private gigs or whatnot. Believe it or not, I mean, the private gigs keep you very, very, very busy. So.
Yeah. Good thing you voiced for Six Flags, because that's one of the big parks in San Antonio. A lot of people like to go there and have fun and ride the rides. I mean, I certainly love Six Flags. I love roller coasters. I even enjoy the rides at Disneyland in California.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, to kind of think that, if I was just a person going to the park and I hear that over the loudspeakers or all over the park, I thought, man, that's pretty cool, man. To be able to be that guy to produce and voice for Six Flags, for that time period when they did open up that roller coaster. It's pretty cool, man. Not everybody can say they did that, you know what I mean?
Right. Now, next, what equipment normally do you use to perform the job?
I'm sorry, say that again one more time?
What equipment do you use to perform the job?
Nowadays, you really don't need a big studio. It used to be back in the day, you had to go somewhere really professional, had to go to a studio, a full-out, probably multi-million-dollar studio to get voiceover work done. But, as time has progressed and technology has come so far, I use something as simple as the AT2020 Audio Technica mic, and it's a USB mic, plugs right into my laptop. I use a MacBook Pro, 15-inch, and it's an older computer. It's not one of the more recent ones. I've had it since 2008. And then I've got two monitors here on my desk. I've got kind of like a producer's desk. But no physical hardware. I don't have any, voice processors that I have to run the mic into. Nowadays, with Mac, I have the program Adobe Audition CC 2017. And, it's really crazy because that program can process your voice and do everything for you. So you don't need any external boxes. Everything can be processed virtually. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, technology is evolving. It's come so far. You can even use an iPhone to do voiceover work if you wanted to. Because I have a couple of apps that do it. Like now to record our interview, I'm using Spreaker Studio on my laptop.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And I'd say for anybody who's wanting to get in the voiceover game, I would say at least get yourself a good, decent setup. I mean, you probably don't want to just use your iPhone or just use the mic that's on your MacBook Pro or even your Windows computer. You want to get something that's going to be able to process your voice, or you want to learn how to process your voice. There's a lot of tutorials that you can find on YouTube. Look up, voiceover process. I'm sure there's some tips and tricks there, and I'm sure he's got some good pipes already. But Pat Garrett's one, and Eric Edwards, another great voiceover. What's his name? Mark Driscoll. Way back in the day, Mark Driscoll was, and he still is. I think he's still doing it. Very, very talented voiceover. I mean, there's so many people that I can name off that I can go online and listen to these guys, their demos and all that. I can listen for hours. I mean, it really intrigues me, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, do any of those guys, did they produce voiceovers for cartoons, or which ones are the ones that you listen to the most?
You know what? I don't know about any of those guys. Those guys are, you know, what mainly always interested me was radio imaging. So I really like being, and I voice for a radio station down in Corpus Christi right now, and some other ones across Texas, and some online radio stations here and there. I just recently picked up a gig for the UK called Balaco FM. That's one of their Latin radio stations out there. But you know, as far as it's radio imaging is what really interests me. You know, not that I'm opposed to animation, but all those guys that I named off, I don't think they've really done any animation. You know, guys like he's another great voiceover talent. I can't think of his name right off the top of my head. Any other day I can tell you, but right now, I'll tell you. The guy that does Optimus Prime, he has an amazing voice, and that's the guy that does animation. His name is Peter Cullen. Peter Cullen does the voice for Optimus Prime. I mean, he has a super deep baritone, in a world, kind of voice.
Yeah, that's a deep voice.
He's just amazing, and that's one of the major voice talents, animation-wise, that I've always liked, because he's just a total badass. Now you hear Optimus Prime, it's just it's a recognizable voice, and he's been voicing that character Optimus Prime in the Transformers since way back. We're talking about the 80s, I think, maybe late 70s, 80s.
Wow. Now I know you mentioned one of the most recent projects you produced was the one for Six Flags. Are there any more notable projects that you produced and that you're proud of?
Well, I'm proud of everything that I really produce. It doesn't really matter who it is or how big the client is. Big or small. I treat every client the same. So, but yeah, one of the more recent ones was a radio station down in Corpus Christi that I picked up, 102.9 The Bomb, or they go by Da Bomb, D-A, and then B-O-M-B. So I got to be their voice for their hip-hop radio station. And hip-hop is really just kind of more my roots, because when I was in radio, that's where I pretty much came from. Yeah, I mean, I enjoy doing the radio station stuff, and so that's all stuff that I really, really, I'm very, very proud of.
Yeah, it sounds like you love radio, because I've always loved radio all my life as well. I've enjoyed listening to country, pop music, and I've enjoyed listening to the DJs talk as well.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. As far as the, there's a lot of great talents out there, personality-wise. You shift gears and look at DJs. They're not all voiceover guys. They don't all have a. The voiceover game's not always about. I think we talked about this previously prior to the show, but the voice game is not always about having the deepest voice and having that rumble, that deep, rumble in your voice. Voiceover can be anything. Like you said, Arlo, we were talking about voiceover can be animation. You can have the highest pitched, squeakiest voice, and you can do animation. There's a lot of different applications, but I will say in the voiceover game, it helps be versatile. And, so I have to be able to, deliver and say 102.9 The Bomb, where hip hop lives, and be able to be, if I ever want to do animation, I start talking like this, and I want to start talking like this, You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good voice.
You got to find that range, you know what I mean? I almost started going like,
Yeah.
But it's finding that range in your voice and using it for the proper application, or, for the times that I do voiceover for corporate stuff, they don't want that deep, dark delivery. They don't want that rumble. They want somebody who sounds very friendly and talks like this. Corporate sounds very clear and crisp when you speak. You know what I mean? So there's just so many different ways that you have to be able to deliver to stay alive in this game. Honestly, I mean, you can stick with one, but when you give yourself just one niche, I feel you limit your money, and so you've got to be able to be versatile so you can get out there and maximize your profit.
Yeah, and the quality of your voice, yeah, you said it also depends on the setting. like you will use a high-pitched voice for cartoons, and that high-pitched voice that you used just now, that sounds great.
Yeah, no, I mean, just to give you an example, you know, a lot of animation, you know, voices are quirky and silly, but sometimes they're just regular. They don't, you know, some voices don't have to be quirky and silly. They can just be like I'm talking right now. I could be a voiceover. I mean, to give you an idea, look at Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, who just recently voiced for Moana and was the voice of Maui. You know, he's just himself. I mean, you watch the movie and you see the character talking, but you can see Dwayne Johnson, and there's no difference. Or take for instance Kevin Hart, who voiced for what was it, The Secret World of Pets, I think, when he was the bunny. You know, he went out there and did that. But when you hear the bunny talk, you see Kevin Hart. You know, he doesn't change up his voice in any way, shape, or form, but his voice just happened to fit for that role. And so, you know, sometimes it isn't about changing your voice. Sometimes it's just being you.
Always. There's a popular saying out there, always just be yourself, and others will recognize who you are.
Yeah, and we're all unique. And it's funny, I was watching a video, somebody was talking about, you know, the remix factor. And, you know, there's so many people that get out there and try to emulate and imitate exactly what they see, exactly what they hear. You know what I mean? And so, or even, you know, just take, for example, people that start a business. They go out and they see somebody's business and they go out there and try to replicate it exactly the same way. Or you can take people that create on YouTube. You know, you see a YouTube channel and they, you know, say they make their channel about, I don't know, I mean, just pick a subject. You know, and you take that channel, you see that, you go, oh man, that's a really cool channel. I'm going to go over here and create the very same one. You know, and you try to do it exactly like that show. Well, guess what? You know, that YouTube channel is not going to get as many likes or as many subscriptions and views as the original that started it. For instance, I'll give you an example. Dwayne Johnson, what's his name? Ray William Johnson, there we go, who did Equals 3 on YouTube. You know, you could take that kind of show, and that was one of the biggest rated YouTube channels, I think, ever. And you can take that same formula and try to duplicate it the very same way, and whoever goes and tries to do it, it's not going to come out the same way. So you have to be able to be, my point is, be unique. And if you are going to take something and kind of emulate it, make it your own, and switch it up, and remix it. And when you do that, and you put your own flavor and your own spin onto something, that's what people gravitate to. And that's you know, it is. You should always be yourself. Even though we get very impressed by watching others, and you know, we feel like we just want to do the same thing. You know, still take it if you are going to try to do something similar, but remix it and make it your own.
Makes sense. And also, what are some of the biggest challenges you faced throughout your career, and how did you overcome them?
You know, let's see here. As far as, I think broadcasting in general was really kind of the challenge. You know, doing what I do now, I absolutely love what I do. I think some of the challenges are, especially in radio and broadcasting, were especially like around maybe 2008, maybe 2006, 2007, 2008, when the economy was starting to crash. You started seeing all these radio stations start limiting their staff, and they were making cuts left and right and letting people go, and so that was one of the challenges, because you were kind of like, man, I hope I stay, you know.
Yeah.
And so when they were cutting back, and then the other challenge is that none of these radio stations wanted to pay money. You know, they want to try to hire somebody for bare minimum. And, you know, when I thought I had a career in radio for the rest of my life, you know, I started, again, 18, 19. I had my own morning show at the age of 20, you know, and I moved on and started doing afternoon drive and became imaging director for my radio stations and started kind of, you know, moving up. And, you know, as time progressed, I realized that I could have a full-out, lifelong, I didn't think, and even to this day, I don't think you can have a full-out radio career. I mean, you can and you can't. It's just really luck of the draw. There's some people that will make it and maybe ride it out until, I don't know when the end of radio is, or if there is going to be an end of radio. I don't think there will ever be an end. I just think it's gonna change, and how I exactly, but I think radio is just in some type of transformation. And but that was really one of the challenges, and having to make the call to leave and leave radio full time and leave everything that I knew, because I really got to a point where I felt like, man, I think it's time for a different path. And so I took on voiceover, and I started DJing independently for nightclubs. And when you go independent, that's always one of the biggest challenges. Because now you're leaving the safety of a job, per se. And you're not getting an every week check that comes in every Friday or every other Friday or whenever you get paid. Now it's all up to you. You've got to get out there and make the money for yourself. So going independent and making that jump is always a challenge.
That's right. Being independent means, you're self-directed. You're responsible, for your own self. You basically, if you don't work, you won't make good money. And, it was a great point you mentioned back in 2008. It makes sense when economic times are tough, which they were back in those years. Staff were letting a lot of people go. And I know those times can be tough for everyone.
Right. No, for sure. And at the end of the day, though, things change. Things are always constantly transforming, and life is really just all about how you adapt to change. And not only that, but are you willing to get out there and work? No matter on what level, whether it's going to be in radio, whether it's going to be a voiceover, whatever it is, nothing works unless you do.
Right.
Period.
I gotta work. Now, finally, as you go further in your career, what do you hope to accomplish in the future?
I think my ultimate goal is to become one of the major voice talents in the world. If I can be top 10, great. I'd really like to shoot the top 3, if not number 1. There's a lot of great voice talents out there. But I think realistically, it'd be nice to be in the gentleman's club of voiceover. There are select voices that you hear constantly over radio, over television, voicing trailers. And I want to be one of those repeat voices you hear all the time making 7 figures. There's a lot of guys making quite a bit. To give you an idea of how much money there is in voiceover, as far as even radio imaging, being the voice for a radio station, the stuff you hear in between every single song, in between each song that plays, whether it be, this is real country, K99, and it goes into the song, here's brand new music, and then you hear Luke Bryan come on, hey, this is Luke Bryan, it's an exclusive right here on K99 Country, you know what I mean, and you hear, that's just the imaging voice, not the DJ, but the imaging voice. Some of these guys make $500-$600 a radio station.
Wow.
I think the minimal, and I'm talking about per month, so the minimum, you'd be looking at maybe, $250-$300 per radio station, I think. But then you can make as much as $1,500 to $1,500. So you take some of these major voice talents that have been doing it for years, and let's just average out. I mean, we'll take even the bottom end. How about $300? Let's just say $300. Some of these guys are voicing over 100 radio stations. So let's say they were making $300 times, let's just say 100, right? That's $30,000 a month. That
Exactly.
They're making residually every month. $30,000.
Remind me. Send to voice. Send in a set.
They do.
Voiceover on. Hello. Selected. Missed. Edit. 1 3 1 3 4 2 1 0.
Sorry, buddy. I think we got disconnected.
We did get disconnected.
That's okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. So what were you saying?
But just to give you an idea, I mean, some of these voice guys are making, let's just say, anywhere from $250 to $300 for those smaller radio stations, on up to $1,000, $1,500 a month. I mean, so even if you factor in at $300 times 100 radio stations, because a lot of these voice guys are voicing over 100, not just 100, but over 100. At $300 per station, that's a $30,000 paycheck every month. And then multiply that times 12. That gives you what? That's about $360,000 right there.
Wow, that is good money right there for
I
sure.
mean, that's doctor money, and that's just counting. That's just counting that they're voicing at $300. You know, I mean, even if we factor at $600 average, just kind of find the medium times say 110 radio stations, it's $66,000 a month times 12 puts you at almost way more than $500,000. I mean, $792,000 is what I figured is even if you factored at $600 per radio station. You know, so to give you an idea, I mean, of how much money there is in being a successful voiceover artist. And that's my goal. If I made $300,000, I'd be okay. If I was making close to $1 million, I'd definitely be okay. And that's just radio. That's not counting that these guys are doing 110, 120, 130 radio stations plus doing television and doing movie trailers and that's just radio. So to give you an idea, I mean, there's a lot of money out there to get.
There is. There definitely is. And that sounds, well, JD, it definitely sounds like you've had a good career going, and sounds like you love what you're doing. And I've been doing this apprenticeship for about a few months, and I've enjoyed it so far. And this is why I'm doing this interview. It's one of my projects. Is to find out what it's like to be a voiceover artist.
I'm glad you're doing it, man. We all start somewhere. I started out doing overnights on a radio station, for a Spanish radio station at that. It wasn't even like a hip-hop station. It was just doing overnights on the weekend. And I was super stoked to at least be able to do that, And a lot of other guys, I also did board hopping, where I went in and I would just run the board and run commercials for shows. Or for like the Dallas Cowboys, here in Texas. Dallas Cowboys would play, and I'd have to go babysit the board. And whenever they would go to commercial, the guys, the announcers at the game, they would say, they would say it in Spanish, so I knew what to listen out for. They would say, comerciales locales. I would always hear that. They said, we're going to go to your local commercials. And I would hit the commercials, and I would pod them down. So I'd play my commercials, I'd get done with the break, and then I'd bring back the announcers, and then they would go live. So, that stuff like that, it's those are opening positions within a radio station, or being part of a promotions team. Getting out there and just being there at events. Being there at locations. Say, whenever they go do car dealerships, or they go do, say Cricket Wireless or Verizon or wherever they're doing a remote from, and passing out T-shirts and stickers and giving away promotional merchandise. There's so many little things that you can do to get your foot in the door, and even if it's an apprenticeship like what you're doing, man. I mean, that's where you start. That's how you do it. But you can't get in it unless you start. So for anybody who's out there looking to achieve a goal of being in radio or broadcasting, I would definitely say just start. Just get out there, put your foot in the door, and then just ride the wave.
Exactly. Ride the wave and go with the flow. Well,
yes, sir. That's what you got to do.
Well, JD, thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview with me. I appreciate you being on the show, and best of luck in your future career.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. It was a pleasure to be on your show. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. This has been an exclusive interview on Rai Radio of JD Gonzalez, a voiceover artist in San Antonio. We'll see you for your next episode of Right Eye Radio. Goodbye. Hello? Hi, Stacy. How you doing? Going great. One second.
Can you hear me?
One second.